Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. Li Huowang's face paled and he immediately ran toward the door and closed it. It's all right. Master can't hear us now. Master utilizes the wandering gods to help him patrol the caves. Every time there is a procession, the wandering gods must return to the procession. What are the wandering gods? Li Huowang asked. This was the first time he had heard of them. They are as their name implies. You can't see or touch them. I've heard my grandpa say that only those proficient in Taoism can command them. Oh. Li Huowang immediately remembered this information. It was quite crucial for him. When is the procession? Bai Lingmiao was puzzled by his question. On the 1st and 15th day of each month in the lunar calendar. Senior Li, didn't you know this? Did your parents not take you to the procession? Li Huowang shook his head. In his memories, or at least in what he thought were his real memories, he lived in the city and didn't attend any such event, since they were only seen in the countryside. Senior Li, let's get back to business. Do you wish to fight against Master? His face froze a moment before he said. Yes. I want to tear him apart. Bai Lingmiao nodded and sighed. Then let me help you. I might be able to do something. Li Huowang stared at her. He saw conviction within her eyes. It seemed that Bai Lingmiao was not as weak as he had thought. All right, you will be the first one to help me, Li Huowang agreed. He really needed an ally. Li Huowang thought about their circumstances and told her, we still don't have enough people. Go to the preparation room and see if any of them are unsatisfied with Master. Maybe some of the people in the cave might not want to fight against Dan Yongzi, but those in the preparation room were already doomed to begin with. Some of them wouldn't want to go down without a fight. Bai Lingmiao nodded and left. Li Huowang sat down and took out the jade pendant. He thought about the disciples who failed to escape. Xian Yang. Was this how you gathered everyone too? I hope I don't suffer the same fate as you. After taking some time to gather his thoughts, he started to focus his attention on Zephyr Temple. He started to properly take care of the preparation room, regardless of whether he had to deal with humans or items. Dan Yongzi naturally rewarded such a hard-working disciple. He taught him various basic pill recipes, treating Li Huowang the same as a direct disciple. The basic pills were not very potent, allowing Li Huowang to only treat some minor injuries and flu. Additionally, the pills contained a certain amount of poison. If he ate too many of them, it would cause some side effects instead. He wasn't sure if this applied to all the pills in this world or only Dan Yongzi's pills. There was one more rule. He couldn't consume two different types of pills at the same time as it could lead to unforeseen circumstances. Rather than becoming something akin to a folk doctor, it was more apt to say that he was someone who could use poison. But the pills were not really that important. What was more important was gaining Dan Yongzi's trust and building a strong relationship with Dan Yongzi. There were even times when Li Huowang was told to help Dan Yongzi refine pills. Then, Dan Yongzi took in one of the young assistants as an official disciple, and so Li Huowang was no longer the most junior disciple. He had become a part of Zephyr Temple. After spending some time with his master, Li Huowang confirmed that Dan Yongzi was indeed illiterate. He even hated those who could read and write. He would never allow his disciples to be better than him, which was also why he sought after disciples that were illiterate. After confirming this, Li Huowang was suspicious of what Dan Yongzi told him previously. Master had said that the method to becoming an immortal was given to him by Taishan Laojun himself, recorded within a sacred text. He even said that if Taishan Laojun told him that he could become an immortal, then he would become an immortal. Since he and the other disciples are illiterate, how could they have known the contents of the sacred text? Who told them about it? My home is located in the lower Liang city. Enter the city through the east gate, and go to the 22nd house on Prosperity Street. I've hidden 2 pieces of gold within the 3rd pickle jar under my bed, between the layers of pickles. Spend wisely. It should be enough to ensure that our child grows into a proper adult. Please pass my message to my wife. A middle-aged man, his face riddled with pimples, held back his fear as he told Li Huowang his final words. The man was the guiding drug ingredient needed in the pill room today. Li Huowang could do nothing but listen to his final words and remember them. Staring at the back of the trembling man walking into the pill room, Li Huowang turned around and left. He was feeling agitated. This was the 8th person that he had taken to the pill room. As time went on, there were fewer and fewer people within the preparation room. But what made him feel awful was the fact that he had started to grow accustomed to it. But he didn't want to grow familiar with this feeling. He refused to become Dan Yongzi's accomplice. He needed to find a way out of this, and away from this terrible place. But it wasn't easy. With only himself and the malformed people from the preparation room, it was impossible to fight against the seemingly invincible Dan Yongzi. There were 2 key pieces of information he had ascertained. One was that on the 1st and the 15th day of each lunar month, without the wandering gods, Dan Yongzi could not spy on them. The other was that Dan Yongzi could not read, meaning that there was someone else in Zephyr Temple translating the sacred texts for him. Should I slip into Dan Yongzi's place and see if I can kill that person? Then I would become the only literate disciple here. He would have to use me to translate the sacred text. Then it should be very easy for me to kill Dan Yongzi. This idea had just come into his mind when he dismissed it. Firstly, while he knew where Dan Yongzi lived, he didn't know if there were any traps laid out there. Secondly, he didn't know just how strong the person reading the sacred text for Dan Yongzi was. If he just entered blindly, he might end up dying instantly. Should I poison his ingredients? No, he was the one who taught me how to refine pills. He would easily identify the poisoned ingredients and kill me. Li Huowang kept thinking as he walked back, trying to find a way to kill Dan Yongzi.